Welcome back to another Insider. And today we are going to talk about something that became a little popular, um, not just with tourists, but even with people that intend to migrate to other countries. And today I am going to give you my honest linguist input on virtual learning platforms and if is it really effective to learn a language from a bot? So come with me and let's explore this topic. So let's talk about virtual learning platforms and the good and the bad of my intake, my personal intake on these platforms. In the last decade, we have seen an appearance of virtual learning platforms that promise you to teach you a language and help you to speak like a native speaker. Well, part of their business model is telling you that they will, you know, teach you the language or that you will learn the language based on real situations so you don't have to memorize complex rules or vocabulary. Hmm. In some cases, you practice with short videos where you record your answers and the bot tells you if you are correct or even if you are using the correct pronunciation. In theory, this is all fun and games, but will it be local proofed? And this is what I intend to talk about today. So, here are a few of the problems that these platforms may pose to someone that is trying to learn a language. I would say that correcting pronunciations or trying to teach the correct pronunciation is always a good approach because it is important that you have the correct pronunciation of things. But there are a lot of serious problems with these platforms that you don't see when you look at the fancy ad. For example, these platforms teach you ways to communicate with locals, but the problem is in every country, locals may communicate differently in different parts of the country, not just in terms of pronunciation, but sometimes even words or sentences. Not to mention that in every language, there are multiple ways of conveying the same message. Every language. If you just know one and the person you try to talk to uses a different one, you are in trouble. So, this is to name a few. If you want to read documents in the other language and you have no basic knowledge of it, you might be also in trouble. If you only want, I mean, if you only want to get by on a 4 week holiday, it might be okay. You might be able to get away with it. But if you are planning to move to a country, get a job or run a business, you won't be able to, I don't think. To fully learn a language, you need structure given by rules, syntax, grammar, etc. Loose sentence won't help you reach fluency. You, you need time, practice, and effort to learn the language fully and then be able to use it. And a bot, I don't think, can do that. Because you need to, first of all those rules that they claim you don't need to know, etc., those are the structure of any language. And the vocabulary, the syntax, all those are really a good thing um, because they are the structure of the language, they are the way and what allows you to learn a language. If you just learn um, if you just memorize loose sentences, that won't allow you to get by on an everyday basis. Yes, if you are a tourist, you may get away with a few of these sentences, and then you can eventually, even mix it up, throw a little English in the mix if the country has a good level of English, and you may get by. But if you move to the country, if you need to get paperwork done, if you need to call companies, etc., obviously you can see the problem that this type of learning will pose to you. A human teacher will always be the best in my view. A human teacher will teach you the rules, the vocabulary, the pronunciation. Most importantly, a human teacher will be there to answer your questions, correcting your mistakes, and help you navigate the challenges. Because a language is something, it's that's why sometimes even we even call a language a living being, because it's always in transformation, it's always like living, so to speak, because it is used every day, and that's the way people in the country where that language is spoken communicate. That's how culture is passed. Everything is through language, and we really need to understand that. And if you want to learn a language, that's I do apologize, my allergies are back. And obviously, you really need a real teacher, I would say. Learning the grammar and syntax will help you not only speak confidently, but understanding what others say, and what, or eventually what that document you are trying to get done, or read, or anything like that. It is the difference between being a confident fluent speaker and a trying hard tourist. Believe me, it's really something that, as I said, again, if you are indeed that tourist, it might be okay, as I mentioned before, with a little English in the mix. If the country has a good level of it, um, you might be able to do it. But if you want to live in the country, get a visa, buy a house or rent a house, a car, uh, call utility companies, for example, create a business, um, do your tax return. Uh, you need more than the tourist level. You need to be fluent in the language. You need to understand the lingo. Because if you are going to contact all these companies, they're going to talk to you in a language that you're not going to use if you are a tourist. And that's obvious, right? Um, you need more than that. You need, uh, I would say, a deep knowledge of the language to be able to communicate if efficiently and effectively with people there. I think that is the main thing here. This is very important because it opens doors. If you are able to learn the language and to communicate knowing that language, you can navigate the country's systems, and you can do things independently without the need of help from anyone, either a professional interpreter or otherwise. You can do it on your own. You don't have to rely on others to get by, and that's a good thing. Then there's the human and social side of it, which I also think is very important. If you know the lingo, you can easily be a part of the culture, you can communicate with the locals and become one of them. Machines can be very helpful, but they still don't replace human knowledge, I think, even if they tell you otherwise. So I believe that this is the main reason why um, these bots, these virtual language learning platforms are not the best option. And then there's another thing. For example, countries or languages have variants, and you need to be aware which country do you want to go, So you make sure that wherever platform you go, you learn the same variant. Because if you are going to a country speaking a variant of another country, it really is not going to be very nice, is it? So there's a lot of things at stake here. There are also platforms where you can get in contact with a real teacher, a real human teacher, that then you can set up sessions, sessions with that person, lessons. They can teach you, they can correct you, and that's fine. I myself had a language course available, um, and that is perfectly fine because you are actually contacting or you are communicating with someone that is first qualified to teach you. Secondly, it's a local, it's someone that is proficient in that particular language, and it's going to teach you all that all that basis, all that structure. In my view, learning, and as a linguist, I believe that you don't learn a language if you don't learn the structure of the language. It's like you build a house, you put the bricks, but you forget to put all the structure where the bricks should go. It will crumble. That's what I see here. So today I decided to do this video about this topic because I think it is important. And if anything, um, do your research before committing to any of these courses, especially if you are to move to a foreign country. Uh, Make sure you do a really thorough um, research. You see what is available. Some of these platforms are on a subscription basis, so you subscribe and then you can be learning, etc., etc. But then see if that subscription is actually worth it, and compare with other platforms where you eventually can have a real teacher teaching you, a real human teaching you, telling you everything, and where you can learn the vocabulary, the grammar, everything that you need to be fluent in that language. I think that is important. Yes, if you are a tourist, you may get by with just a few loose sentences, just, to try to say the basic with a bit of language, of your own language, English most predominantly, and you will be all right. But if really you really want to do to move to another country and you want to settle in another country, then I think that sort of learning it's not enough, and you may be paying because obviously it all adds up. It might be a subscription. You may think, okay, this is cheap, it's just such and such. I honestly I did not do a research in terms of pricing because that's not what this video is about. This video is about the type of learning. You may look and you may think, okay, this subscription, it's not that bad. It's just a few dollars every month or whatever every year. I think I can afford this, blah blah blah. But then again, is it worth it? Are you getting value for money? Are you really learning that language? Are you really being independent in that language with that particular platform? Because maybe you are not. Maybe you need something else. And this is why I decided to talk about this today. I see even a lot of YouTubers being sponsored by some of these platforms because they are really big, they make a lot of money, um, and they became really popular exactly because of that, because they advertise for that. Oh, you don't need lots of things, you don't need to syntax, blah 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 blah. It's you just learn the pronunciation, you learn this, you learn that. Yeah, you do. But do you learn the language? I don't think so, because you are just learning a few sentences, you are just learning a few things to get you by. You are not learning the language. because if someone goes a little bit outside the box, and we all know as native speakers of some language, we all know that as native speakers, we go and say the same things in different ways, and obviously we don't use exactly always the same type of sentence, or we don't communicate always in the same way. So if you go and you talk to someone and someone else gives you a response that it's outside that box, it's outside that exercise that you did with that virtual platform, you lost, because you don't know what they're saying, and you cannot get out of there. And you that's when you may resort to English, for example, to try to see if they understand you, and then get your communication going. So it is very important that we understand this. For tourism, maybe okay. If you want to move to another country, definitely not. I would not try it. I would not do it. I would not pay money. If I am to do a course and learn a second language or a third, whatever it might be, I would be doing my research, and I would be paying to have a real teacher, a real human teacher that would actually provide me that knowledge that would allow me to live in that country, to communicate with the locals fluently, go about my own life, do my tax return, contact my utility companies if I needed to. And of course, if you're going to live in a country, you do need to contact your utility companies to buy a property or rent a property, talk to real estate agents without any issues. Um, all these sorts of things. Is not just going to the restaurant and order your meal, or going to the supermarket and pay for your groceries. It's not just that. It's way more than that. It's way more than catching a cab or a Uber or a bus. uh, it's way more than that. It's really living in the country, taking care of your stuff. For example, if you eventually want the citizenship in that country, you want to submit the paperwork. And I know, for example, in Australia, English learning is an important part of the citizenship. I believe other countries do the same. So that course won't get you there, won't get you on a level of the language that you are able to live in a country effectively. So if you really want to learn a language, do your research and invest in something that will actually give you some return, that will actually give you some goodness out of it, that allow you to be fluent, allow you to be um, a local, so to speak. Because then you'll say, okay, I invested this amount of money in this course, and I don't think, in terms of pricing, that they will be that different from those other platforms. Um, I invested this money on this course, but now I'm here living in this country, and I can take care of my own business. I can take care of my own stuff without always needing to rely on someone else to help me out, because I can't speak. So I think it is important. And also another aspect of it, if you are going to live in a country, it's important that you also know how to write. And just knowing the sounds and the pronunciation, which by the way it's very important, but you really need to learn the rules in regards to how the letters are pronounced, how certain things are pronounced. Um, all those rules are important. And even though in some languages more than others, there may be a lot of rules. For example, I give you the example of Portuguese, that has a lot of rules, and it's a very complex grammar to learn. Yeah, it is. But once you learn it, once you learn that basis, that structure, you then can venture out, for example, in Portugal, and speak to the Portuguese without a problem. Yes, of course, it's not going to happen overnight. You may still do some mistakes. Your pronunciation may not be 100%. And of course, with the differences in diction from one language to another and phonetics, it might be the case that you will always have that accent because you won't be able to achieve the full native pronunciation, but that's fine as long as you know the rules, and I know as you construct those sentences properly, and as long as you communicating in a native way. If you have an accent, there won't be a problem. If you don't know what you're saying, that would be a problem. So please, this is my intake. Do your research. um, See what's in the market. Sometimes it might not be even more expensive at all. um, and if you get a human teacher, honestly, always look for reviews, of course, because obviously, even in the human teachers, there might be good ones and not so good ones. Um, Look for reviews and make sure that you sign up for something that will give you something back, that will be a powerful tool for you to use if you are to move to that particular country you are trying to learn the language from. Okay, so this is why I brought this today, because I thought it would be an important thing to do, uh, to clarify a few things about these courses, and especially about hype on advertising and everything for this type of course that then may lead into not so good situation. That's all for today. I hope you like this insider. I hope that if you are um, trying to find an option to learn a language, that this really helped you see what is best, because I think this type of platform became really popular, uh, and by no means they're making a lot of money, and I still wonder, as a linguist, as someone that works with languages every day, um, I still wonder what value will these students get from those platforms, um, to really spend the money on them. So I decided to do this video and explain my insight, my personal view as a linguist, as someone that also had courses available. Um, I no longer have my courses available, by the way. Um, I um, I wanted to give you this insight, give you this opinion about uh, what may and may not happen regarding to this type of learning, so you are better equipped to do your own decision. Of course, make your own decision and choose um, which way you want to go. Of course, ultimately, that's your call. You are the one. You are going who's going to call on this and say, okay, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. But what I wanted with this video was to bring you that insight, bring you um, that difference, what you get from a real teacher, a real professional teacher, that you may not get from these bots, from these virtual platforms. Even the pronunciation may not be 100% accurate, um, because we all know how AI looks like and how it sounds like. So I hope you liked it. If you had any experiences with any of these platforms, please share with us. Leave a comment below. I'll be very happy to know about your experience, either good or bad. It doesn't matter. I really want to know real experiences from real people that have indeed um, done this. And if you have any topic that you would like me to cover in our insiders, so please leave a comment below. I'll be very happy to consider and accommodate your queries. So before I go, every week I do the same. Put a like on the video and subscribe the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a notification of a new insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.